Hello and welcome to Talktime. Now, this week, we're going to be looking at an issue which appears to have become controversial. The issue of cement prices. Should government legislate prices? Are the prices high? And if they're high, how are they affecting industry? Welcome to Talktime. Hello, welcome back to Talktime. And as I indicated, we are looking at cement, particularly cement prices and how it's affecting the construction industry, and questions about what we should do about cement prices. And we are particularly privileged to have with us in the studio Mr. Emmanuel Sherry from the Chamber of Construction Industry. So you're welcome.
Thank you very much, my boss.
Yes. Hey. Masha, what is the problem with cement pricing? Is there a problem?
There is a problem that affects all of us, especially we, the end users in the construction value chain. The problem we have identified is on daily basis or weekly basis or monthly basis, you go into the market and then the price of the cement that we call as a product in our field of work becomes a bit higher than what you have priced your contract into. So it affects the production, especially in the contract build-up. So the build-ups to every contract, all the materials that a contractor or a developer is going to use normally goes into the build of quantity. So that is what guide you, the developer or the contractor, on the field of work. So as we, the contractors, what we normally do is we get documents. So all the intention of you, the developer, or the client, being a government, whosoever, that this is what you want to do is being enshrined in that document. So they hand over that document to you as a contractor or developer. Then your responsibility is to interpret what is in that document on the field. That becomes an edifice. So in short, we normally called our work as changing natural habitation to artificial habitation. Because the natural habitations may be a desert, may be a forest and what have you. But if you hand it over to us and you contract us to turn it around for you, you end up having something beautiful like this. So that is what we deal in. So if it happens this way, that today you have given me a contract and in the build, the price component in it, you've made provisions for cement, possibly 100 cedis or 50 cedis per bag. Mm-hmm. That's for 32.5 N. And then the build has been over to me. I've signed a contract. Now, due to one or two technical reasons, the contract, we couldn't start the contract on time because the client possibly might default or must be dragging a feet, possibly because of one or two technicalities. By the time I finish mobilizing myself to go back to go to site and start work, surprisingly to go to the market, the 50 cedis is no longer 50 cedis. Mm-hmm. So if that happens, it throws the contract off gear. Now, who bear the brands? How do you adjust yourself? So that is where the challenge is. So it's a serious challenge to the entire industry.
What are cement prices now compared to, say, about 3 years ago?
3 years ago, the cement prices were around 35 to 45 Ghana cedis. No, it's 27 to 35 Ghana cedis 3 years ago, thereabouts. But surprisingly today, the price of cement is 105, 110 Ghana cedis in the market.
Wow. What accounts for this increase?
Yeah, the concern of the manufacturers happens to be, number one, most of the materials they import into the cement production is clinker and gypsum. These materials, you don't have them readily available, or especially in the large quantity in the country. So therefore, they need to import. So immediately it comes to the port, the freight becomes a problem. Clearing is a challenge. That's the import duty. all slap on that product. So by the time you finish clearing, it becomes a challenge. And then you and I know that our taxes in the port of late is not friendly to business. So therefore, if it happened this way, the business owner, after struggling to clear this product out, if he finish, he will slap the overall cost on the finished product. Number two, they cry about the forex. Now, as a business on the entire economy, you cannot forecast your business, your forest, because on daily basis, the forex keep changing, fluctuating, keep going up against our currency. So yesterday, you see the value of the CD to $1 or to £1 to €1. Today, you go to the same forex, you see that the price has upwards adjustment a little bit. So let's take it for instance, in your calculation, you estimated that I'm going to use $10 million to import this particular item. So if the item comes, this is what you're going to do. You do all your calculation. Surprisingly, the items will get to the country. Clearing becomes a problem because you need to change CDs into dollar to clear, which is a problem because almost all the import duties has been benchmarked to dollar. So they calculate and then you pay in the dollar terms equivalent. So that's number one. So which means your projection has been thrown off gear. You can't forecast. Number three is about the interest rate, the interest rate in the market. Today, if you go to the financial market, our borrowing rate is a bit high. So it doesn't make business friendly, especially in our part of the world here, especially in Ghana. So you import your materials in according to their concern. The materials comes, the prices of clearing has upwards adjust because of the dollar to the CD. Now you need a top up. You go to the financial market to look for money, to buy money, borrowed money, to top up with what you already have. The price there too is a bit high. So after doing all these things, if you finish, who do you think will bear the brand? Fourth is about utility. Utility charges has also appreciated upwards. If you come to the petroleum market, the same thing. Just this month, all utility services have increased, adjust their prices upwards. So how can you forecast as a manufacturing industry? So these are some of the challenges. So after they finish production, you see that if they should sell the same product at the same price yesterday, they may run a loss. Who cushion them with the differences, the negative differences? So at the end of the day, they slap it on the finished product, and then you and I, as consumers, we bear the brand as a result of what? The economic indicators which are not good.
Definitely, the increase in cement prices is affecting you and your business.
Yes.
What do you think we should do as Ghana?
As a country where we have gotten to now, we have two things. Either we look inward and use our local materials in production, or we go the same way that we are going now. Number one, the local materials that we have in there, we have them in abundance. We have limestones, we have limes here, we have clays, we have almost virtually everything that we can use as our forefathers used in the past. But today, because of preference, we have taste for foreign goods. So if a developer should go into the market now, use local materials to build an edifice very nicely, if you get to know that this is a local material or a bricks and thereabout, its occupancy becomes a problem because people seems as if they will be laughing at you that you are living in a local building, a horror view. So selling those products becomes a bit difficult against the foreign taste. So almost everything we have today is being surrounded by foreign materials. So we end up creating jobs for others against our own economy. So the best thing for us to do now is for us to look inward, for us to see how do we add value to our raw materials that we have in here. Then the other is we go the same way we are going now. If you are to go the same way we are going now, then the government has a responsibility in there to cushion the manufacturing sector as well as the consumers. In which way? It should really look into the tax components, because per the cement producers, they were complaining that the taxes on one bag of cement is almost 40 to 50 Ghana cedis on one bag. Taxes alone. All goes to government. So now the rest come back to the manufacturers. They take their utility bills, what have you, energy, all those particular things out of it, together with service charges and salaries and what have you, overall costs. If they take everything out, how much is left for them for their profit? So these are the challenges. So governments must, as a matter of urgency, take a second look at the taxes imposed upon some of the materials. If possibly, they can reduce it or clear them off. Then the forex also must be looked at. Cabinets must sit up and take a second look into the forex market. What exactly is happening in there? Why are we not being able to stabilize the forex? It's a cause of worry. So that is where the government also must also look into. If this happens, at least it can force the price to be a little stabilized or possibly reduce a little bit.
Well, viewers, we are in conversation with Mr. Emmanuel Sherry, who comes from the Chamber of the Construction Industry. We are talking about cement prices. We're going to go on a short break, and when we come back, he's already advocated that we can use local materials in the construction industry. I'd like to find out how feasible that is. So, short break. Welcome back to Talk Time, and we are in a conversation with Mr. Emmanuel Sherry from the Chamber of the Construction Industry. Now, sir, you said that we could use local materials, clay and others. I see that we're building some very sophisticated buildings now, 20-story buildings and so on. Are the local materials good enough for the construction of those kinds of buildings?
More than good. Our local materials are tried and tested. Our forefathers, if you go to the various cocoa community, the traditionally known cocoa communities, the rich men or the buildings, sophisticated buildings you see there, they were all built by local materials.
Yeah, but those are 1-story and 2-story buildings. Now we are building 20-story buildings.
If you go to Egypt today, almost all their buildings are local materials, bricks. London, UK, as we speak, they are using bricks. So why can't we also adapt same to look inward? Even though the bricks also, there's definitely going to be a cement component in it, but it not be the volume that we are seeing it to be today.
Now, the Minister of Trade, government, is actually threatening to introduce a law to regulate cement pricing. Do you think it's going to work?
Yeah, it might work, but depending upon the style of each introduction. Because we have very beautiful laws in this country, but its implementations are the challenge that we have today as a country. So it's not about the introductions of the law or the LI or the regulation, but it's about how efficient is going to be. One thing that he's also not looking at is what are the underlying factors, the indicators contributing to the prices we are witnessing today. He seems not to care about that, but he's looking into something else. Holistically, there must be a conscious approach between the ministry, Ghana Standard Authority, and with the developers, the engineers, the the architects, the real estate developers, the building contractors, the road contractors, all of us together of artisans, we need to sit at a roundtable discussion to dialogue that bill in question should have come to us, tell us exactly what is the rationale behind this bill. Let's discuss it among ourselves, agree to disagree, then we fine-tune, fertilize the draft LI, then if it's sent it to Parliament, because a broader consultation has been done, and then the understanding is clear on the table, there is no need for us to be where we are today making noise, agitating among ourselves. But because he refused doing that, that is the result of what is happening today. It's a nice thing that he has introduced. But the regulation, we have regulators in the petroleum sector, right? But what is happening to the prices of fuel today? Today, we have regulators in the industry of petroleum. But if you go to GOIL, their prices, are they the same with Shell? They are not, definitely not. Total has its own price. GOIL has its own price. Others also have their own price. Even we have a regulator there. Okay, so it's not necessarily going to stabilize prices, that equilibrium. It will not happen. That one day you can take it from me, it will not happen. But what is going to, it can cure a little bit, is transparency.
But we agree that what is causing the price rises is the exchange rate.
Yes.
The city has no value.
Yes.
Most of the things used in cement production are imported. How can any law, any LI, change this situation if the city continues to fall?
It was the same thing that happens in the petroleum sector. And today, it's free fall. But what I've foreseen is, it says government want to absolve itself from the blame game. Because in the petroleum sector, even though the prices are being increased on daily or weekly basis, we don't hear government name appearing that much. Because if it happened this way, we say so, the regulators, we address the concerns, and then there are pains to the regulator. But in the cement sector, there is no regulator. So if it happened this way, the attacks go directly to government. So government want to win itself away from this attack, this, how do you call it, the challenge. So it's a strategy they are trying to introduce this year.
Is that possible when the taxes are imposed by government?
Sarawak.
If the taxes are responsible for the rise in the price of cement, how can government run away from it?
You see, so this is what Ghana Chamber of Construction Industry was advocating for and advising the minister, that the best thing for him to do is possibly send a proposal to cabinet, seeking cabinet's mandate to see what exactly they can do to cushion industry.
To reduce the tax.
Exactly.
To stabilize the city.
The city. That is where the game changer is. If today this regulation comes into force, and then the fluctuation is still as it is today, automatically the prices will definitely go up.
I've taken the trouble to do something, to check on prices. Now, if you look at the prices in relation to the dollar, they're very stable.
Yes.
Very, very stable. Okay? It is only the city pricing which is rising.
Exactly.
So whose fault?
It's our policy. Which policy have we implemented to put checks and balances into the economy? So the cedi largely loses its value to the external forces. So the dollar is gaining ground, pounds is gaining, euros is gaining, CFA is gaining, while the cedi is losing. So if it happened this way, whose responsibility is it for us to stabilize the forest? It's government. What is cabinet's responsibility? That is where they are. We pay them for this. So they must sit and think outside the box to find ways of arresting this particular situation. We are not looking into that, but rather you are trying to look into somebody's profit margin. So you want to see what profit have you slapped on the finished product of cement production.
Well, viewers, we're going to take another break. As you do know already, we are in conversation with Mr. Emmanuel Sherry from the Chamber of the construction industry in Ghana. And we're talking about cement prices. Now, when we come back, I'd like to find out whether they've had any engagements with the manufacturers of cement and how did it go. Short break. Welcome back to Talk Time, and we are talking to Mr. Emmanuel Sherry from the Chamber of the Construction Industry in Ghana. Now, sir, have you had any engagements with the cement manufacturers? How many are they?
We have currently 14 manufacturing companies in the country producing cements to serve the construction industry entirely. And I believe that's where one of the challenges is coming from. Because if you should study carefully, you see that construction work has stalled for some time now. And then it's not as it used to be because of government heavily indebtedness to contractors. So most major works has been put on hold based upon IMS directives in the conditions being stated for government to follow. So they have the stock, but the consumption is a bit low. So the few they have in there, they need to at least break an even. So in the course of that, what do? They try to package it together with other overrun costs and then release it to the market. So the production is now, their production is a bit lower, but they need to serve the market. So the few they have in there, price competitions set in. So that is one aspect. So we had a number of engagements with the cement manufacturers behind the scenes, especially myself, one-on-one. And then 2-3 days ago, we had another engagement which was organized by Ghana Standard Authority. So the issues were laid before everybody, and then the understandings were a bit clearer. But the issue here is we, the consumers or the developers, we would like to engage further. So come next week, on the 11th, hopefully, we may be having a stakeholder engagement with the manufacturers, with all the players within the sector, especially the developers, the consumers. Then we understand their issues properly, and then engage Ghana Standard Authority before meeting government one way or the other. Because as long as the LI has been laid, it takes 21 days to mature. 3 days has already gone, which means you are left with almost 18 days more, but still there can be a work. With chance on the draft bill, it's not that anything that's so serious, but there are certain clarifications that we need in there. And I believe through consultation and dialogue, we may be able to fine-tune some of the issues, and then we'll move on. Because the manufacturers, per the meeting we had 3 days ago, they made it clear that they are not running away from transparency or releasing their price breakdowns. They are ever ready to release those informations out. But I don't know what exactly has necessitated the agitation. The issue, underlying factor, was from the minister, his posture. The way he approached the issue was sincerely unprofessional.
So what you're saying, it does appear that there has been no stakeholder consultation
At all.
Is that proper?
That is the reason why I said his approach, his methodology to this introduction is unprofessional. Sincerely, without missing words. He's a respected honorable member of parliament as well as a minister, but the way he approached this issue has caused disaffection to the government more than anything else. It's a nice thing he should have done and succeeded easily if you open up the basket of engagement, of dialogue. But the committee, surprisingly, senior, the 3 days ago's meeting, the committee that he himself has put in place and inaugurated denied knowledge about having seen the draft bill, the draft LI. Nobody seems to hold it or seems to have it. So I say, is that the way for us to govern? chaos. As we speak, we just finished a program at Labade Beach Hotel, organized by Ministry of Works and Housing, under the leadership of Honorable Minister for Works and Housing, the Kojo Ponkruma. A fine gentleman. He's a youth. See the way he approached, because he wants to understand the industry issues better. After engaging him seriously, severally, we need to come to a forum. So all the key stakeholders within the forum, the sector, came together, do a presentation, did a discussion, fine-tune it, understands one another, and then come out with a memo. So that is what is going to shape his level of understanding and then advise cabinet accordingly. Now he wants to introduce certain policies, certain regulations to some of the acts and what have you. The best thing for him to do is what he has done. That is a youth. The man who was insulting the youth, that the youth their heads is like coconut without brains. See the approach that he has used. See the methodology against a youth. A youth that you in quote without brain has been able to garner all the key stakeholders at a roundtable conference. It was beautiful. 3 days, very well attended, a rich conference. That's what a youth has succeeded doing. And you, the one that with brain, see what you have achieved. Ula balu, chaos, ranting. It will never solve the problem. That is not the way to govern. As a leader, you must find a way to rally your people, your followers around you. Bring everybody to the table. It must not be autocratic. You are not living in a jungle that you get up today and then you dangle your words, you throw everything around, say all manner of things. It doesn't work that way. You can do that at home. But as long as you're an office holder, a public office holder, you must not forget that you are representing the constituents. So the larger collective interest must be your stake, must be your watchword. You are representing the fine gentleman, the president. So every utterances must reflect the character of the president you represent. But the approach, sincerely, being adapted by our honorable minister, is in the bad taste.
So thank you very much for coming to the studio. And we hope that as the time rolls on, if there are any problems in the construction industry, we can call upon you to offer us some explanations. Thank you very, very much. We are most grateful to you. Now, viewers, we've been listening to Mr. Emmanuel Sherry, who is from the Chamber of the Construction Industry in Ghana. And we've been talking about cement prices. We do hope that all of us have learned a thing or two about cement pricing and the futility of introducing a legislative instrument. Until we meet again next week, please keep your dial on Pan-African Television, because we bring you the best in everything. Best in news, best in current affairs, best in sports, and best in everything. Stay with us until we meet again next week. Bye-bye.